A deaf black girl is shot by biased police. Her father arrives with the FBI, dismantling their careers. The bullet didn't echo. It pierced a quiet Georgia afternoon, lodging in the chest of a girl who couldn't hear its approach. Aisha Coleman, 14, had just finished tracing the words, "I'm heading home," in the air, her fingers still moving when the shot hit. She didn't cry out. She couldn't. Her body lurched backward from the force. Her pink hoodie bloomed crimson over her heart, like a flower out of season. Her backpack slid off, her sketchbook striking the pavement, pages spilling across the steps of the Oakwood Public Library. Drawings of black girls with hearing aids, heroes with brown skin and gentle eyes, figures with open palms, not fists, soaring into skies now out of reach. She was one of them. Until she wasn't. A second shot cracked the air, missing, a frantic attempt to cover a mistake. Officer Daniel Klein stood, gun drawn, eyes wide but unyielding. His partner, Officer Ryan Tate, shoved him in the chest. "Jesus, Dan, stop. She's down. She's down." Klein's voice broke through gritted teeth. She wasn't responding. Her hands, she was making signs, gang signs. She was signing, "You fool." A voice yelled from across the street. Keisha Brooks, who ran the cafe at Elm and 3rd, rushed out, apron on, phone raised, recording. "She's deaf. You shot a deaf child, you racist." Klein started to turn toward her, but Tate gripped his arm. "She matched the profile," Klein snapped, eyes flickering. "Black female, suspicious. She had a sketchbook," Keisha screamed. "She wasn't suspicious, she was singing. I see her every day, signing her music on her way home." "You just didn't get it." Aisha's hand twitched once on the concrete, not in defiance, not in fear. Just the last flicker of a nervous system, unsure if it could still exist. She couldn't hear the chaos, but her body felt the tremors. Sirens wailed louder than she ever could, a chorus of fear rippling through onlookers. A mother clutched her toddler. A teenager dropped his bike. A woman knelt, dialing 911, unaware the one she called had pulled the trigger. Aisha's cochlear implant skittered across the pavement, buzzing faintly once before falling silent. 1,000 miles away, in a classified facility in Langley, Virginia, a coin-sized sensor blinked awake after 3 years of dormancy. Ebony code active. Marcus Coleman was mid-sentence when his earpiece hummed, a sound that wasn't supposed to come anymore. He didn't flinch or ask questions. He straightened, closed the file before him, and removed his ID badge. Director Harold Vance, seated opposite, raised an eyebrow. "Marcus?" "Family emergency," Marcus said. Calm, resolute, final. Non-negotiable. The room stilled. Marcus walked out. 10 minutes later, his flight was logged not under his name. The plane, unmarked, no manifest, lifted off from Andrews Air Force Base under thin clouds, heading south. He packed no bag. He didn't need one. In Oakwood, paramedics swarmed Aisha's body, her vitals faint. One tech pressed on her chest while another started an IV. A third muttered curses as gauze soaked red faster than he could replace it. "She's just a kid," one whispered. "Where's her family?" The only contact listed, Marcus Coleman. That name made Dr. Sophia Langston, trauma surgeon at Oakwood Regional, freeze. "You said Marcus Coleman?" The nurse nodded. "Probably not that Marcus Coleman," Sophia murmured, but her hands trembled. She'd heard the name in D.C. circles and whispers. A ghost in intelligence, the kind of man you didn't mention unless you were ready for consequences. Across town, Klein sat in his patrol car, fingers twitching on his weapon's grip. She didn't stop, he mumbled. You didn't give her a chance, Tate said, voice taut. Klein stayed silent. Tate stared. They've got video. Kaisha was recording. Klein's throat bobbed. She didn't listen. I told her to stop. She couldn't hear you. Klein stared ahead as more squad cars arrived, lights flashing, sirens singing a tawdry song. The town stirred. Rumors turned to shouts. Teens spilled from Oakwood High. Someone spray-painted #Justice for Aisha on the library wall. Protesters gathered before the mayor's first briefing. High above, Marcus Coleman sat in silence, reviewing a dossier on his daughter's implant, a device linked to an encrypted server he debuilt after Nia's death. He'd sworn never to use it, but that vow dissolved when his daughter's heart faltered. The jet landed outside Oakwood without fanfare. Marcus stepped off in jeans and a gray hoodie, a guitar case slung over his shoulder, a civilian in appearance, lethal beneath. Two figures met him on the tarmac. Quiet flight, Zara said. I was calculating, Marcus replied. Malik nodded. Hospitals locked down. She's alive barely. Cops are already spinning the story. Marcus glanced at the Georgia sky, gold-edged, torn between hope and sorrow. Then we torched their narrative, every lie, every tape, every file. They don't get to hide. At the Oakwood precinct, Captain Victor Ramsey sat at his desk, phone to ear, the sound of Aisha's body hitting the pavement looping in his mind. She wasn't compliant, he said into the line. You followed protocol, the voice replied. Stay quiet. Let it fade. But Ramsey forgot. Silence doesn't whisper when it breaks, it roars. The trauma bay reeked of copper and fear. Dr. Sophia Langston pulled on gloves, hands still damp. Aisha was on the gurney in Trauma 1, pale, small, barely breathing. 14. A paramedic confirmed. Gunshot to the chest. Suspected hearing impairment. No guardian present. Sophia lingered on the girl's face braids half loose, lips cracked, a silence unnatural for a child. Vitals, systolic dropping, pulse weak. Coded once in the ambulance but came back, pushing fluids. A nurse handed Sophia the chart. One contact, Marcus Coleman. Her hands froze. The name hit her like ice. Marcus Coleman, she repeated. The paramedic shrugged. That's what the system says. Sophia didn't respond, just looked at Aisha and whispered, Who are you, kid? Aisha's hand twitched to reflex, maybe more. Page cardio, prep for surgery, Sophia ordered. And tell security we're on lockdown. If this is that Marcus Coleman, she won't be our only visitor tonight. Marcus didn't use the front entrance, never did. At 2:14 a.m., an Oakwood Regional ID badge marked Leon granted him access, his eyes unreadable. Malik Ford met him near the laundry chutes. 4th floor, trauma. She's in surgery. You good? No, Marcus said. You? Malik shook his head. Worse. Marcus moved like he'd memorized the hospital's layout years ago. Zara Holt trailed, boots soft, hoodie up, a flash drive spinning in her fingers. They didn't speak in the elevator, words weren't needed. On the 4th floor, Marcus bypassed 2 nurse stations and logged into the hospital's network via a maintenance kiosk wired to an unused port. Zara patched into the feed in 60 seconds. Security logs are weak, she muttered. No two-factor. These people don't know encryption. Marcus barely glanced over. Find the law enforcement interface dispatch logs, flagged reports, federal cross notifications. On it, Zara said. Malik leaned against the wall, eyes scanning the hall. Think it was panic? An accident? Marcus shook his head. This doesn't smell like panic. In room 403, Aisha was still in surgery, vitals stabilizing but faint. A nurse passed, glanced in, didn't recognize Marcus, and moved on. Zara's fingers danced across the keyboard, screen pulsing green and blue. No 911 call, she said. Marcus turned. What? No civilian report, no anonymous tip, no radio traffic until after the shot. Marcus stared. Then why were they there? Zara dug deeper. Manual flag, internal alert from Oakwood PD, 6 minutes before the shooting. Subject, black female, possible erratic behavior, unrecognized hand motions. Recommendation, approach with caution. Malik straightened. Unrecognized hand motions? Are you serious? She was signing, Marcus said, voice low. Flagged her, Malik asked. No, Zara said. Not the flag came from a terminal, manually logged. Terminal 4B, Captain Victor Ramsey. Marcus exhaled, fingers tightening. He targeted her. Zara's voice dropped. He used Maya as a cover, but this was deliberate. Malik frowned. I thought Ramsey was internal affairs. He was, Marcus said. Savannah PD, transferred after an excessive force probe vanished mid-review. Guess where he landed? Zara pulled Ramsey's file. He's tied to Apex Defense's Predictive Threat Index, a behavioral modeling, a iPilot. Malik leaned in. They're using Beta AI to scan kids in public and justify lethal force. No, Marcus said. They're labeling, then waiting for someone to act. Zara found the clincher, a training document linked to Ramsey's credentials. System approved via discretionary deployment, no council vote, just Mayor Clara Vaughn's signature. Malik cursed. Marcus stared at the screen, silent. She was just walking, drawing, signing, Zara said, voice rising. She fit their profile, Marcus replied. Black, young, disabled, alone, unreadable. Silence fell. Marcus turned to the operating room window, watching Sophia Langston's blood-stained hands work. He closed his eyes. Nia's voice echoed. They don't fear our anger. They fear our clarity, our ability to name their secrets. Marcus opened his eyes. We name everything, every file, every flag, every order. Zara stood. Then we go to war. Marcus nodded. Quietly, for now. We dig, then make them explain to the world. Malik looked at Aisha's silhouette beyond the glass. She's just a kid. Marcus's voice held steady. She's not just anything. Deep in the Oakwood PD, a red light flickered on a locked server cabinet, labeled Do Not Touch. A heartbeat, a warning, a countdown. Marcus Coleman had been a ghost in the system for nearly a decade, erased like a redacted file. Now he sat beside his daughter as hospital bed under a forged janitor as badge, reading Leon. The linoleum floor was scuffed, the machine's beep soft, like breath afraid to stir pain. Aisha lay still, wires crisscrossing her chest, taped to bruised arms. Gauze wrapped her side, her lips pale, her breathing shallow but steady. She hadn't moved since surgery, But her heart beat on, and Marcus clung to that like a soldier's last round. He hadn't spoken since entering, one hand cradling hers, the other resting on the bed's edge, back rigid, eyes hollow, jaw locked in a silence heavier than iron. Memories of Nia's death hit like shrapnel. One moment he watched Aisha's monitor. The next, he was outside a burned-out sedan in Fulton County, watching officers take notes with no arrests. Nia, a teacher, had signed fluently for Aisha's sake. She'd filed a complaint against a deputy for slamming a deaf black student against a locker. The report was clean. The officer walked, and then Nia's brakes failed. Mechanical failure, they said. The insurance agreed. Marcus didn't. He hunted the culprit, found him, but justice didn't serve ghosts. His career had built systems to make men like him vanish. No court would hear him. No judge would admit his untraceable logs. So he disappeared, raising Aisha in a quiet Savannah home, making pancakes, reading comics, never shouting, a shadow tethered to light because Aisha was that light. But now the shadow was back, and it wasn't hiding. Zara's voice buzzed through his earpiece. "I'm in the precinct system. They're claiming she failed to comply, no mention of her deafness." Marcus stayed silent. "Marcus," Zara pressed. "She signs when she walks," he said. "It soothes her." Malik's voice followed. "She was signing that day. We've got Keisha's street footage. Her hands were up, signing Rise Up. She didn't even turn." "They didn't wait for her to speak," Marcus murmured. Silence hung. Zara's voice broke. "They didn't see her." Marcus walked to the window. Outside, news vans gathered, police cars looped, denial humming from the precinct like static before a storm. "She was a threat because they couldn't read her," Marcus said. "Difference is danger here, always has been." "Leak the files?" Malik asked. "Not yet," Marcus said. "We wait until the gasoline's poured." Aisha's monitor beeped, fragile but steady. Her face, so like Nia's, sharp in thought, soft in spirit, believed in heroes, drew them. Black girls with hearing aids, cyborgs in wheelchairs, superheroes signing spells. Now those pages were blood-stained. Marcus pulled a tarnished silver ring from his pocket. Nia's, kept locked away with sealed files. It wasn't just grief he'd buried. It was purpose, the belief he could bend the system. He placed the ring in Aisha's hand. "You raised your hands to speak," he whispered, "and they criminalized it." His voice broke. He turned away before tears could rise. Zara's voice returned, urgent. "Marcus, you need to see this." "What?" "A folder, buried deep, unencrypted. Internal comms between Klein and Ramsey with audio. Play it." Klein's voice crackled, agitated. She was waving her hands. "I thought she was signaling something." Ramsey's reply was cold. "You followed protocol. Stay quiet. Let it die down." Marcus's jaw clenched. "Save it. Triple backup off-grid. We use it when it stings most. What's the plan?" Marcus looked at Aisha, her still chest, scraped knuckles, bandaged breath. "We make noise." The oxygen machine hissed softly, breaking the silence. Marcus stepped out, closing the door. A nurse passed with a tray. Another reviewed logs. They didn't know him. He wasn't supposed to exist. But every hallway, camera, and badge scan was now watched from within. The ghost wasn't alone. The hallway outside room 403 was sterile, heavy with hospital quiet. Marcus sat by a vending machine, listening not for footsteps, but for signal. Zara's voice crackled. I found it. Marcus moved to the stairwell. Found what? An internal thread email logs, text syncs, Klein and Ramsey with a voice note. Play it. Static, then Klein. She was flailing her hands. I thought she had something. Ramsey calm. You followed protocol. Stay quiet. Let it fade. Marcus closed his eyes. This is how they sound when they kill kids, he muttered. Saved in 3 locations, Zara said. They hit it, but not well. Catalog every name, timestamp, login, metadata. Working on it. But Marcus, someone else is accessing these logs using city admin credentials, not police. Marcus didn't reply. He knew the next move. 2 hours later, he entered St. Paul's Baptist, a crumbling church on West Pine, unused for 5 years. Mold clung to the ceiling, hymnals sat dusty. Dim lights cast shadows. Malik stood by the entrance, arms crossed. Officer Javier Torres, 24, acne under his jaw, badge too big, conscience heavier, sat rigidly. Marcus stepped into the light. Torres stood. I know who you are. Marcus sat across, silent. Torres's fists clenched. I was there, not on duty, getting coffee. I saw her signing. My cousin's death. I should have spoken up. I froze. Why? Marcus asked. Torres stared at the floor. I thought they knew something I didn't. Maybe she was more than she seemed. Marcus's eyes narrowed. She was. Braver than all of you. Torres nodded, shame flooding his face. Ramsey told me to stay quiet, or I'd be reassigned, maybe worse. And you agreed? Torres's eyes glistened. I was scared of being the good cop who gets shot in the back. Marcus leaned forward. You're already shot. You just don't see the scar. Torres blinked. Marcus placed a flash drive on the bench. You can't undo it, but you can stop it from happening again. Torres hesitated, then pulled a plain black drive from his jacket. I don't want to die for this. Then don't, Marcus said. But don't live like it didn't happen. As Marcus turned to leave, Torres said, Tell her I'm sorry. Marcus didn't stop. She doesn't need your sorry. She needs your truth. At the safe house, 3 monitors glowed in the dark. Zara sank towards his files. Malik watched the street. Anything good? Zara exhaled. Worse than we thought. Marcus leaned over. Tate's body cam footage, unedited, showed Aisha walking past the library. Red hoodie oversized, fingers signing poetry. Rise up. Klein's voice screamed, Stop moving. Aisha turned slightly, hands still moving. Then the shot. Her body collapsed. Her sketchbook fell. Malik looked away. Marcus didn't. How long? 89 seconds. That's enough. What now? We show them what silence looks like. At 12:01 m, Zara uploaded the clip to a private server, mirrored to 8 encrypted backups sent to civil rights forums, anonymous networks, and one trusted journalist with one rule: no edits, no voiceover, just truth. It hit the public at 12:03. By 12:07, it had 40,000 views. By 12:10, #HandsAreNotWeapons trended nationwide. The world saw a child die for speaking with her hands. They couldn't look away. By dawn, Oakwood woke in pain, slow, then unstoppable. Streets filled not with noise, but presence. Teens with signs, grandmothers with chairs and rosaries, mothers with strollers and protest flyers. Everywhere, 3 words. She was signing. No chance, just stillness, louder than sirens. Candlelight circled the library. A laminated sketch of a black girl with hearing aid constellations was taped to the wall. Another kid added his drawing, a superhero signing hope. Marcus watched from the edges, listening to the city's pulse. Oakwood wasn't unique, just another crack in a rotten wall. At the safe house, Zara scrolled trending threads. The Capital Herald's headline read, "Fatal Compliance, When a Eye Pulls the Trigger." Malik shook his head. They think it was the algorithm. Zara turned her monitor. It was the humans who built it. Marcus stood, arms crossed. The algorithm was the glove. The hand was always there. His drive blinked with confirmation. Vendor contracts, encrypted memos, Mayor Clara Vaughn's signature approving predictive threat index via an emergency clause. No vote, no notice. Marcus opened a private email. Subject: Community Stability Strategy. Content: To curb volatility, we must empower officers to act on behavioral noncompliance, especially among at-risk youth. Authority must be visible. Submission must be trained. Signed, Mayor Clara Vaughn. She ordered it, Marcus said. Zara looked up. That's the match. More than a match, an instruction manual. At 10:47 p.m., Vaughn opened her door to a man in a charcoal coat, face shadowed. "Can I help you?" she asked, wary. "I think so." She moved to shut the door, but he spoke. "You authorized PTI in Oakwood, bypassed council, used school safety funds, buried the vendor trail under Novix." Her face faltered. "Who are you?" "Someone who built systems like PTI before I saw what they do." A pause. "You're Marcus Coleman." He didn't confirm, just played her voice. If they can't follow verbal protocol, they're a risk, especially kids. We can't second-guess threats just because they look innocent. We need officers who act. She opened her mouth, but he cut her off. "I'm giving you a choice, one you didn't give my daughter. I don't respond to threats. It's not a threat. It's a courtesy." He walked into the night. At midnight, an anonymous live stream launched, showing Vaughn's voice and signature authorizing PTI. Within 5 minutes, it spread to educator boards, parent groups, reform collectives. By the hour, national press picked it up. Vaughn had called Aisha a non-compliant profile, reducing a child to data. Marcus Coleman, once a cyber intelligence director for an agency redacted from records, had designed such tools for foreign threats. Now he turned them on those who weaponized them against his daughter. Zara turned from the screen. "Your face is everywhere." "I know. They'll come for you. I'm counting on it." Malik stood in the doorway. "You just made yourself a target." "No," Marcus said. "I put the spotlight where it belongs." Protesters outside the mayor's office held signs lit by phone flashlights. No screams, just silence, louder than any badge. Aisha's monitor beeped, steady, alive. A breeze slipped through the hospital window, and beyond Oakwood, other towns watched. The system labeled her a threat, but now it was under threat, and it had a name. At 3:11 a.m., a black town car crept across a state airstrip's tarmac, headlights off. A jet hummed, flight plan filed under a shell company. Mayor Clara Vaughn, sunglasses on in the dark, sweated through her makeup. Chief Ethan Wells limped, muttering into a burner phone. Julian Apex defense architect, scanned for cameras. "This is ridiculous," Vaughn snapped. "We should be airborne." "Flight checks take time," Julian said. "DOJ's already circling." You said this would be contained, Wells barked. One kid, you said. She became a symbol, Julian replied. You let it spiral. They didn't notice the engines quiet or the shadows closing in. A voice boomed. Federal agents, step away, hands up. Lights flared. FBI jackets gleamed. Tactical boots thundered. Vaughn froze. Wells turned, caught by agents. Julian ran, tackled, his briefcase spilling contracts onto the asphalt. Marcus watched from a secure feed in a closet-sized room, Zara's tablet streaming live. He didn't smile. Aisha was awake, her fingers finding his, warm, steady. She signed, "Am I still me?" His throat tightened. "You're why an empire's falling." She smiled faintly. That evening, the DOJ froze PTI deployments nationwide. Apex defense contracts were suspended. Congressional subcommittees formed. Marcus stayed with Aisha, launching Coleman Code, a barebones platform. They took her voice. We're giving it back. It mapped stories of profiled disabled children, black, brown, indigenous. A mother in St. Louis shared her son's frisking for suspicious cerebral palsy movements. A Florida father reported his daughter's suspension for signing too fast. A 17-year-old in Arizona wrote, "I'm not angry. I'm exhausted." Coleman Code grew to 10,000 submissions, becoming essential, not viral. Schools requested training, organizations sought data, pediatricians shared it. In room 403, Marcus sat by Aisha, her grip unwavering. "She want to speak," he said. "We'll make sure they understand," Zara replied. Marcus opened Aisha's blood-soaked sketchbook. A girl with braids and a sound-wave cape caught falling stars. Beneath, Aisha's handwriting, "Even the quiet can catch fire. No more shadows." He was her witness, and now the world was too. In a dimly lit hospital room, Aisha insisted on no filters, just her. Marcus stood behind the camera. Zara checked lighting. Malik watched the stream surge. Aisha signed, "Let them see me." Her hands moved, clear, heavy with truth. Zara's voice overlaid for hearing viewers. "I am not dangerous. I am different," and that scared them. Aisha paused, letting silence weigh. They saw my signing and called it a threat. My body became a problem for speaking my way. Views climbed thousands, then millions. Aisha signed. They shot at the idea that I could exist without apology. She raised both hands. One signed hope, the other rage. My hands carry stories ancestors fire. By 6 hours, the stream hit 12 million. Schools added cell classes, libraries, updated accessibility. Teens tagged #hands are not weapons. A father's message from Arizona, his autistic son inspired by Aisha, broke the team. Marcus framed it by her bed. "You rewrote the rules," Zara said. Aisha signed. We reminded them who they forgot. The White House condemned AI profiling. The FBI investigated violations. Vaughn, Wells, and Julian faced indictments. But Aisha, with a bullet scar and a fire in her heart, changed the world. Silence wasn't surrender, it was resistance. In the courtroom, expectation hung heavy. Aisha, in a wheelchair, black dress, held a whiteboard. "I will not die in silence." Klein, pale, sat defeated. Ramsey's recorded voice played. "She moves her hands too much. Those types always hide something." Torres testified. "I told Klein she was deaf." He wanted to be right. AI logs showed Aisha flagged for unusual kinetic behavior sign language. The verdict came, Klein guilty on all counts. States suspended Apex contracts, lawsuits filed, legislation drafted. Outside, Marcus and Aisha avoided the press. Students signed, "We see you." Aisha replied, "Keep watching." Marcus spoke once to the press. She didn't need to scream to be heard. Justice needs us to stop turning away. Voices unheard grew, interviewing survivors, parents, whistleblowers. Aisha streamed again, joined by diverse children signing, "We are not your glitch." A pinned comment read, "I teach my daughter a cell starting with Aisha. Heroes don't need capes, just hands that keep moving." Don't scroll past. Learn to listen differently. Speak with your hands. See with your heart. Subscribe to Voices Unheard. Some stories aren't meant to whisper. They're meant to change the world.